Hi, everybody. I'm Janice Rivera, founder of Women of Virtue and Excellence Network, and I am excited for our featured women's story, which today we have Christina Werner, right? Am I saying it right?
Yes.
From Public Square. She's going to be sharing her story. As a matter of fact, her founder of Public Square spoke at our Pathfinders event today, the breakfast event, which Woven was fortunate enough to sponsor. And it's just super convenient and divine that she's actually going to be sharing how she got involved with Public Square. So she's going to be sharing her story. And so we're going to get started. Okay, Christine, welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Yes, we're excited to have you. So just real quick, tell our ladies a little bit about you and how you got into your business with Public Square.
Sure. So I am this word's been thrown around a lot lately, but a mama bear, born and raised in California. I've got my two cubs here, and over these past few years with all that's been going on, just in our communities and through pandemic and stuff, a lot of moms have woken up to what's really happening in our local civic center, cities, school boards, all that kind of fun stuff. So I have had the pleasure of getting to know the CEO of Public Square since prior to Public Square even existing. Met him at a Christian camp with my husband that we were volunteering at. And then fast forward, he started a faith-based political podcast and noticed three major issues that people that are more freedom-minded, conservative, Judeo-Christian values, one, feel alone. Second issue he noticed is, obviously Google, CNN's not giving you just factual information. Google even is, the way they prioritize stuff is based off their ideology. So kind of thinking, how do we get the proper information out to these mama bears and the people in our local town? So civic center of information. And then the third major issue he saw was people would call him during his podcast or after the podcast and say, okay, I'm done with Nike. They blatantly say they support sweatshops in China, or I'm done with Starbucks. Starbucks says they support, not only just support Planned Parenthood, but they were matching employee contributions to Planned Parenthood. So where's my local coffee shop? Where's my plumber, electrician, CPA, all this kind of stuff, and online as well. But mostly, how do you find your local businesses that are like-minded that you want to support? So those were the three issues. He came to another good friend, my husband and myself, and said, I really want to figure out how we can do this. And let's start a platform and an app that's going to connect those three things together and really help our local communities, but then do this nationally. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so I know that because of COVID, Public Square really blew up and launched because all these businesses were forced to shut down.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses that wanted to keep their freedoms were even more so notified. And so tell me a little bit about how Public Square helped with that.
Sure. What is really crazy is it was most definitely God timing, so we sat in a room, and just to be very transparent, I'm thinking, me, but I don't know technology. I'm like, I love people, I love God, I love connecting, but as far as technology goes, I don't know if I could build an app, and then fast forward to, well, just starting a business with people that you trust and you value and have integrity and have got your back through thick and thin, or even being in this political arena necessarily, there's going to be stuff that comes at us. So having like-minded believers is super important. But this started prior to the pandemic, which it was definitely a God timing, because sure enough, just boom, a few weeks later, we come into all these issues of masks and places closing down. And so what we had started, now the 7 core values that we have at Public Square are your traditional conservative Christian values, but those also happen to align up with medical freedom, giving people the freedom of choice, what they're going to put in their body or wear on their face. So suddenly, boom, those just got highlighted. Just this one of these 7 core values got highlighted so big. And it's like, man, we're already compiling a list of businesses that aren't going to discriminate. They're going to let you as a mom or you as, as a person really choose what you're deciding to put in your body and what you're going to wear on your face. So it really did accelerate. And I'm so super fortunate that we already had started this list of businesses, because it just became the place of like, okay, well, I know I can go to a public square business that's on this app and they're not, going to hassle me for this. And chances are they have similar values as me. So
yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, what inspired you to be an entrepreneur? Were you working before? You mentioned you're a mom. So
yeah.
Tell me what inspired you to get into this space?
Yeah, well, I would say just being open-handed as a family, there was a season in our life where we really, yes, and I was working prior, but I've worked as a teacher. So I've been in the school system, which has been helpful with this. My husband and I were catastrophe insurance adjusters prior. So we were traveling around America, totally in a different field in insurance, but where it's lucrative, you make great money. But we came home as a family and really put our hands open together and said, okay, God, what do you want for us as a family? We left our great paying jobs to go work at this, high adventure Christian camp. And for me, it was volunteering my time there. And God really put us on a trajectory of, once you open up your hands to say, I'm all in, what do you want me to do? He just puts you on this everlasting adventure. So then fast forward to having met the CEO of now Public Square and starting this, it was, if you would have asked me 10 years ago if I would be part of a tech startup, I would have laughed. But again, just being willing to, wherever God has you, and when he confirms something in your heart, you go, okay, God, well, if you're for me and this is what you want us to do, then let's just jump in, have courage, don't be fearful of it, and let's go.
That's awesome. And that's great that you stepped out in faith to do something like that. Most people won't live the security and the comfort of corporate America, to do something different, especially if it's something within you're passionate about. A lot of faith and a lot of courage to do that.
Yes. I mean, I can tell you, it's definitely been a financial, change. We went from something we knew and we loved and had the flexibility of traveling around, being in different states, and financial, money would come in big chunks at a time. And we had to make the decision as a family, even like with my children, to say, okay, we're going to bunker down and do this. This matters. This matters to our community. This matters to our state. We think this matters to all of America. And I don't want to leave America to my kids and my grandkids, the direction it's headed right now. So what can we do to help with that or solve it? So I'm really, it's an honor to be a part of it. And I know God's going to take care of us.
Oh, that's great. And so what has been your biggest challenges in stepping into this space?
Oh man, biggest challenges. Well, one of them I can tell you is, I grew up, my mom was choir director at our church, and she'd always throw me up on stage really quick to sing some Sandy Patty or Amy Grant song. And so maybe there's some history of me just not wanting to be on stage, and I'd always do it for her just because I loved her. But in public speaking is just, it's not my favorite thing. And I'm trying to use different words, because I want to speak life over myself and tell myself I'm really great at it. But that has definitely been a big challenge. I was in Northern California and got called and asked to go speak on the steps of the Capitol, where there were thousands of people, and my voice was echoing, for blocks. And I remember being up there like, Lord, help me. But what I've really found is when I stood up there and just told everyone, listen, I am not an eloquent speaker. This is not my forte, but I love our freedoms. I love my children. I love your kids. I want, want to be here because of that. Then everybody in the crowd went, yeah, let's go, so there's the grace just to be transparent. And I've just had to learn that it's okay to be fearful of those things, but courage isn't necessarily not having fear. It's just looking fear in the face and jumping right in and hoping that, I've got the support.
So how long has it been since you've started this journey that you started with Public Square? How many years has it been now?
Oh gosh. Well, so the app, this is also miraculous. The app actually just launched in the end of September, October. Our MVP product was in October. So as a company, we have, I'm sorry, what?
As of 2021?
Yeah, last year.
Oh, wow. So only
Yeah.
a few months. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. So if you ask anybody, you know, a CTO, anybody in a head of technology, they would tell you what we've done in about 10 months should have taken at least 2 years.
Beautiful.
So what the product is already is completely miraculous that we have going what we have. And I, you know, like to use the phrase, it's building an airplane while it's in the air. I have the personality that would rather get every loose end tied and have it be pretty with a bow and everything working seamlessly. But you know what? The people need it now. The people want it now. People have said, we don't care if it's simple, or we don't care if you don't have the map feature yet, or notifications, or whatever it may be. We just need something. We need some way to connect. We need some way to get this information, and we need some way to find these businesses. So just give us what you have, you know. So it is humbling to be like, well, here's what we got so far. So yeah, it's only been live since the end of last year, but we started as a company in putting this idea together for just slightly over a year now.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So what has been the greatest, obviously you shared a struggle. What has been your greatest success since you started doing this? And what do you attribute your success to?
Oh, this is a fun one. So when we sat down at a table, the four of us, and kind of said, okay, here we go. What are we going to do? We realized what we're going after when you're trying to take away business from organizations that support Planned Parenthood or BLM or the left in general. We know like we're coming into a spiritual battle, and it's a ruthless crew, right? So one of the first, or our first hire that we had was a head intercessor, somebody just to be praying for us. So our first, you know, paycheck to write to someone was a gentleman we would just really adore and trust, and as a prayer warrior. And we said, well, can we just have you praying for us? You know, is that weird to be paying you to be praying for us? You know, and what an honor it was for him. And I really feel like God has just honored that we've made prayer a priority, him a priority. Even how this whole process happens, it's like, well, it's in your hands, God. So we're willing to pivot, change directions, but as long as we're staying aligned with him first, then, you know, good to go.
Awesome. So obviously you say you're a mom and you're a wife. So one of the common things that women entrepreneurs, they struggle with is this work-life balance. How do you deal with that? Because you have young ones, correct? How old are your kids?
Yes, I do. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. My 9-year-old's in the other room right now, actually doing his homeschool. So I get that. It's not an easy balance. Communication, obviously, with work and with my husband and is essential, but then really being scheduled. I feel like sometimes the busier we are, the actual easier it is, because you have to schedule that time. You know, it's like, okay, babe, we have to schedule a date night. We can't just put it off and, oh, shoot, a month went by, but it has to get in that calendar and getting good rhythm. So, you know, planning is super important. And then also just giving yourself grace. You know, I even just recently went to our team and said, gosh, I just pulled my son from his charter school and we have to figure out how to homeschool him. Well, I'm working full time. My daughter's also homeschooled / you know, at Awaken Academy. So there's a lot on our plate, and honestly, it does feel overwhelming. So giving myself grace, also communicating that with my team, you know, hey, if there's a morning I have to take off, or I need to figure out where to put him, you know, in this pod on such day, that I also just feel fortunate that we have a team of people that really prioritizes the family unit. And so is willing to make those sacrifices for me to be able to pick up a kid or drop off a kid or work it out or have my son in the next room over, you know, doing homeschool until I can figure something else out.
Yeah, it's being flexible, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But then at the same time, you know, because you're busy, you have to be intentional about structuring your schedule.
Yeah,
There
totally.
has to be flexibility, but yet you have to have structure, or else you will find yourself being pulled in all directions,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And learning how to say no. I by nature am a yes person. I want to, yes, I want to help everybody. I want to do everything. I want to, but there's only so much time. So knowing that God is my priority, my husband, my family, that is what comes first, and then even business. I mean, it is obviously a priority for me, but not over my family and not over God. So
Awesome.
yeah, keeping those priorities.
Great. So what advice do you have for women? Because obviously there's been a huge shift in so many realms from people, whether it be the medical field or in corporate America. If a woman's looking, and obviously women, we love security of a job.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, with everything that's been going on, a lot of women are stepping into the entrepreneur space, small businesses. What advice would you give? Like you left your security of a corporate job to do
Yeah.
something you're passionate with. What do you advise women to do to be successful in stepping out in that faith?
Oh, to be successful. What I would say is just to remember that it is important to still be a mom. It is important to be a wife and a best friend and a family person first. And you can run your business. It seems like there's a big loud voice that also says, well, to be a successful woman, you have to put, that to the side or have your family later, or you have to work more than your 9 to 5. I don't know. Take that up with God. Do you really? Because it doesn't just have to be one or the other. You can be a successful business person and work really hard, but also keep your family first. Have your children be priority. And so there was some big event going on the other day, and instead of being there, I actually told them, I said, I'm sorry I can't make it. I have a mommy daughter date with my daughter. And they go, oh, well, actually that's great. And I really felt like there was respect, even though I couldn't make this incredible engagement, and it would have been so good and I would have made so many connections. I really think it was respected that I let them know, sorry, I have a priority, and my priority is taking my daughter out tonight. And I think, again, God honors that too. So will I be able to probably connect with those people and make those connections another time? I'm sure, so you can do it. You can do it all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's great. Well, that's what we try to bring out at Woven, that I think people shouldn't have to sacrifice their relationships, their personal growth, their health for their business. And I think
yeah, in fact, you need that for your business to grow. You need to be healthy. You need your family to support you. Or if you have a spouse, that's one of the other things I think, in doing interviews. I think one of the best interview questions I ever had, and I started asking in interviews, is not just about who I'm hiring, but I would ask that person, what does your spouse or significant other feel about you taking on this job or taking on this role or being part of this company? Because it is huge. It's not just you. It's not just me that's a part of this. It's my whole family. It's my husband, So I think that's important too, is to make sure whoever you're with, your family, that they're also supportive of what you're doing, because that's pretty hard to do without their support.
Great. Well, that's really great. That's really great advice, Christine. So another one advice, obviously, I like to ask everyone that I interview, like, what is an influential book or podcast that you could recommend our women viewers that are interested in going into their own business? So what do you recommend they should read?
Sure. I have so many book recommendations that are more on like the fun side of life. I really like all the more psychology kind of self-help, all those, but this is going to sound really boring. But as far as business goes, there's a book called Scaling Up.
Mm-hmm.
And what it does is it really it's, again, if you're into business and numbers and this and that, you might think it's really exciting. I didn't necessarily think it's the most fun book to read, but as far as being a business owner, absolutely. It focuses on your company's growth stages. You might not even know what those may be. It lets you know, it shows you a step-by-step process, how to successfully grow your business about 10 times. It has, goals that you think are way beyond. Like we set a goal actually even, yeah, we want this in America, but let's do our BHAG. Let's this big scary goal to be worldwide. Well, I think sometimes when you just say it out too, and you set that goal so high, we had a family member, a Trudeau from Canada, a family member walk into our office last week and ask if we could come to Canada because Canada needs this so bad and they want freedom and they need hope. And we go, oh my gosh, it's already happening, asking this to go to other countries. So I would say Scaling Up is a great book to read as far as business goes, and highly recommended.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, so just one quick final thing, obviously Public Square, if people want to get involved or be a part of that, how do they reach you or what should they do?
Sure. I would say the best way to get involved, number one, this is my favorite, when people ask like, I love what you're doing, I really want to donate. And instead of saying, sure, you can donate here, I actually let them know the best way you can support us is to go on there and go find those local businesses and go support them. They're the ones that need, all of our support as a community right now. So if you're in a state that Public Square is live in, and there's 10 of those or 11 of those right now, you can go on and go find those businesses and go support them. Like they would love to know that they have like-minded people that want to use them for Christmas gifts, or maybe it's an online shopping something. Or we've had so many amazing testimonies of people like a CPA who, once he put his business on, within a few weeks, he had so much work. He's like, I actually can't take anymore. And not only did he just get a bunch of work, it's from a bunch of people that he actually wants to work with, just being like-minded. So that's probably the best way to help. There's certain areas, obviously this has been a grassroots effort and it's not live everywhere yet. So if you're in your community, you're seeing, if you go on the app and on Public SQ or publicsq.com and you see on the map feature, gosh, you don't have a lot of coffee shops around here. Well, help us out. In the marketplace, that's a tab at the bottom. There's an area where you can refer a business or you can add your business. So the best thing you can do is just, if you know a like-minded, freedom-loving business, feel free to refer them, because people want to know where these businesses are and how to support them.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Christine, for sharing your story, sharing what the amazing things Public Square is doing. Ladies, you heard her. If you know of any business that you think would benefit from being a part of this great movement, please do so. I mean, I think with what happened with COVID, small businesses really suffered, especially if people believed in freedom. So we need to honor and support that.
Yeah. And it's free for them. There's no charge for people to be on there. We really just want people to be able to connect.
Oh, beautiful. See, and it's free on top of that. So go ahead and support them. Thank you, Christine, for sharing your story. So that's it for today, ladies. Thank you. If you are interested in featuring your business and sharing your story, please reach out to me. I will be posting Christine's information about Public Square as well. And until next time, take care.
Thank you, Janice, so much. It's been an honor.